Some of the jets dominating today's skies were blueprinted before the internet existed, before smartphones, before you were born. And somehow, they're still the most feared machines in the air. How does that even happen? Today, we're breaking down every major fourth-generation fighter, ranked, explained, and put in their place. This is the full story. Let's get into it. First up, the F-14 Tomcat, the original drip machine of the skies, entered U.S. Navy service in 1974 as one of the very first true fourth-gen fighters ever built. Variable sweep wings? Iconic. The long-range Phoenix missile system? Absolutely menacing. The most capable variant, the F-14D, held it down for 3 decades before the whole fleet got retired in 2006. Gone but never forgotten. Top Gun made sure of that. Now this is where it gets crazy. F-15 Eagle entered U.S. Air Force service in 1976 and straight up went undefeated in air-to-air combat. 0 losses. 0. A certified cornerstone of fourth-gen design. And here's the wild part. The airframe was so good, they kept cooking with it. The F-15E Strike Eagle and the newer F-15EX Eagle II, both rocking AESA radar and advanced avionics. Those bad boys are sitting at 4.5 gen easy. The F-16, the people's champ. First flew in 1974, entered service in 1979, and became the world's first aircraft intentionally designed with relaxed static stability and fly-by-wire controls. That was revolutionary, no cap. Over 4,600 built for dozens of nations. The Block 50 and 52 variants, solid 4+. But the Block 70, 72 Viper, that thing is an absolute menace, firmly 4++ generation. The F-18 Hornet hit U.S. Navy decks in 1983 as a carrier-based fourth-gen multi-role fighter. Did the fighter job, did the attack job, replaced the F-14 and the A-7. Versatile king, the backbone of carrier aviation for decades. But then its big brother showed up. The Super Hornet entered service in 1999, bigger, badder, and a completely different aircraft underneath. AESA radar, advanced networking, and it's still the backbone of U.S. carrier aviation today. Its electronic warfare sibling, the EA-18G Growler, is literally the only purpose-built electronic attack aircraft in the entire Western world. W Fleet. Switching sides, the MiG-29 Fulcrum entered Soviet service in 1983 as a lightweight fourth-gen fighter built specifically to counter the F-16. And get this, it came with an IRST sensor and a helmet-mounted targeting sight straight from the factory. In 1983, that was ahead of its time, low-key. Upgraded SMT and M2 variants push it into 4+ territory. But the MiG-31, bro, this thing is a different conversation. Entered Soviet service in 1981, capable of Mach 2.83. Still, to this day, the fastest jet in frontline military service on the planet. Built to chase down cruise missiles and low-flying threats at extreme range. It's fourth gen, yes, but it hits different. Russia's still flying it, and honestly, why would you retire it? Now buckle up, because the Su-27 flanker family is an entire cinematic universe. The Su-27 entered Soviet service in 1985 as a direct answer to the F-15, and it absolutely delivered. Twin engines, ridiculous agility, and the legendary Pugachev's Cobra maneuver that still makes airshow crowds lose their minds. This airframe became the foundation for one of the most prolific fighter families ever built. The Su-33? That's the carrier variant. Folding wings, reinforced undercarriage, retractable canards for low-speed lift, built exclusively to operate from the Admiral Kuznetsov. Still flying, still no confirmed successor. Respect. The Su-30? Long-range twin-seater, one of the most exported heavy fighters in the world.
Early variants are solid 4+. The SM and SM2 with Su-35-derived radar and engines, that's 4++ behavior for. The Su-34, wild card. Side-by-side cockpit like it's giving bomber vibes but moves like a fighter. First flew in 1990, entered Russian service in 2014, been seeing extensive real-world combat use, precision-guided munitions, integrated EW suite, certified 4++ striker. And the Su-35S, the final boss of the flanker family, entered Russian service in 2014, Irbis-E passive phased array radar, AL-41 engines with 3D thrust vectoring, upgraded electronic warfare, non-stealth, but this jet is not playing around. Seen combat in Syria and Ukraine. Absolute unit. The Mirage 2000, French elegance, no cap. First flew in 1978, entered French service in 1984. Single engine, delta wing, fly-by-wire, relaxed static stability, compact and effective. The upgraded 2000-5 and 2000D variants with improved radar and avionics bump it to 4+ territory. Sweden quietly cooked with the Gripen. First flew in 1988, entered Swedish service in 1997. Single engine, lightweight, cheap to operate, and insanely fast to service on the ground. The C and D are baseline 4th gen. The E and F variants, AESA radar, advanced EW, PL-15 capable, that's a certified 4++ upgrade. And for a small nation's jet, that's low-key crazy impressive. China entering the chat. The J-10 first flew in 1998 and entered PLALF service in 2006 as China's first independently developed 4th-gen Delta Canard fighter, not a Soviet copy. The A and B are standard 4th gen, but the J-10C, AESA radar, and the PL-15 long-range missile, that's a 4++ and a serious threat. The J-11 entered PLALF service in 1998 as a licensed Su-37 SK copy, China's first heavy 4th-gen fighter at scale. J-11B with full indigenous avionics and weapons, that's a 4+ evolution. The J-15, China's carrier-based heavy fighter derived from Su-33 DNA, biggest carrier-based heavy fighter in operational service anywhere in the world right now, entered PLN service in 2013. The upgraded J-15B with AESA, 4++ certified. The J-16, twin-seat 4++ strike fighter, AESA radar, advanced EW, PL-15 capable, entered PLALF service in 2015, and China's primary dedicated strike fighter today. China quietly built a scary arsenal for the JF-17 Thunder, a collab between China and Pakistan that actually slapped. First flew in 2003, entered PAF service in 2007. Block 1 and 2 are 4th gen, but Block 3, AESA radar, helmet-mounted display, that's 4++ behavior from a lightweight budget fighter, big overachiever energy. India's turn. The Tejas first flew in 2001 and entered IAF service in 2016, India's first fully indigenous 4th-gen fighter. Took over 2 decades to develop, but it's theirs. The Mark 1 is the baseline. The Mark 1A with AESA radar and updated EW suite is 4++, and India's betting big on it. Japan went and built their own F-16, but bigger and better. The F-2 first flew in 1995, entered JASDF service in 2000 on an enlarged airframe with 25% more wing area. And here's the kicker, it had AESA radar from day one at entry into service. Most jets had to be upgraded to get there. Japan just started there. Quietly elite. Taiwan's underdog moment. The FCK-1 Qingkuo entered ROC Air Force service in 1994, built domestically after U.S. arms restrictions blocked access to more advanced jets. Around 130 built, still flying today. Doesn't get enough credit for what it represents, sheer self-reliance. The JH-7 Flying Leopard, China's first fourth-gen fighter bomber not derived from Soviet designs, first flew in 1988, entered service mid-1990s, twin-engine supersonic strike aircraft. The improved JH-7A with upgraded avionics is still active across both Chinese military branches. South Korea's FA-50, a trainer that graduated to full fighter, derived from the T-50 Golden Eagle, developed with Lockheed Martin, entered ROKAF service in 2013, carries real combat sensors and weapons, has serious export interest internationally. Trainer origins, but it's built different. Europe's joint super project, the Eurofighter Typhoon, first flew in 1994, entered service in 2003. UK, Germany, Italy, Spain all cooked together. 4++ twin-engine Delta Canard can supercruise at roughly Mach 1.5 without afterburner. That's rare. With the Captor E AESA radar in its latest config, it's one of NATO's most capable frontline fighters, no debate. And then there's the Rafale. France said, "We'll do it ourselves," and they delivered. First flew in 1986, entered French service in 2001. Twin-engine Delta Canard, RBE-2 AESA radar, integrated IRST, the only fully domestic 4++ fighter in Western Europe, Air Force and Navy. And its export game in recent years? Absolutely on fire. India, Egypt, Qatar, everyone wants a Rafale. The MiG-35 entered limited Russian service in 2019 as the 4+ evolution of the MiG-29 bloodline. AESA radar, 3D thrust vectoring engines, fully upgraded avionics. Russian sources hyped it as near 5th gen. Most Western analysts not buying it, but it's still a serious upgrade over the original Fulcrum. And finally, the newest kid on the block, South Korea and Indonesia's KF-21 Boramae, first flew in July 2022, expected to enter ROKAF service around 2026. More stealth shaping than any other current 4th-gen aircraft, AESA radar looks like the future. The freshest, most advanced entry in the entire 4th-gen category, and it's just getting started.